Let me see.
Welcome to the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports podcast. I am King and I am back, y'all. It's been a minute, but I'm back. It's been a good minute since I've been here, but I'm back. As you see, T is here,
Yes, I
Blake's in the
am.
building, and it's been great. How you been, T?
I've been good. How you been, man? People want to know where you been at, King? How you been?
Yo, I've been busy. I've been doing backstage stuff, but I told y'all I got big news. But I finally graduated, y'all. I will be a bachelor's having God tomorrow. So, since I graduated, I told y'all give me some time away. I took my time away, and now it's time to party and turn up with FILA.
Yes. Hey, everybody in the comments say congrats, King. What's up, Michael? How you doing? Yo,
Michael.
King's here. We got Blake here. We got Mr. Will here. He's a writer. For Auburn. Um, so I guess we'll start with Sharif since you're here, Mr. Will. So you covered Sharif for the 12, I think it was 12 games he played at Auburn or his little career he had there. What did you see in him while he was there?
Um, he basically came in and really helped the offense for Auburn. Auburn was really point guard by committee for the first half of the season, and when he arrived for the Alabama game in early January, he really stepped in and he really made everybody around him better. He took a lot of on the scoring load, but he was really good at making his teammates better. Like his assist numbers were crazy to look at, and just the scoring. A lot of the scoring though was him getting into the paint and getting fouled and going to the free throw line. He was really good at doing that while he was at Auburn. The one thing that he's got to work on to be successful in the NBA is he's not a good 3-point shooter. I'm sure you guys have seen the stats, but he was like a 23% 3-point shooter in college. So that's the biggest thing that he has to work on to his game, and just getting big, physically just stronger, because he's kind of a smaller point guard, but. He was really good at making his teammates better. The Auburn offense just flowed so much better when he was out on the court, and when he wasn't on the court after he returned, it was just night and day. So, Auburn fans had waited 2-3 years for this guy to come on campus, and it's a shame we only got to see him for 12 games, but it was a fun 12 games while it lasted for sure.
Watching some of his highlights, of course, you guys didn't have full capacity, of course, in your stadiums and all that. But he just looked like an exciting player. Like if the crowd was there, he would have made the crowd go crazy. Um, my thing on Sharif, like you said, but there's only my thing for him is there's only two guys in college basketball ever to average 20 and 8, and that's him and Trey Young. So you have two of the probably I wouldn't say greatest college basketball players, but two of the college basketball players that you would be like, yo, these guys are gonna make a impact. This is for all of y'all, but why? I started with why do you think he dropped so far? My thing was his height, maybe. That
Yeah, that's a
he's
great
small.
question. Yeah, because I think every mock draft you look at, or and every Auburn fan, my expectation was he was going to go in the 20s.
Mhm.
Starting around the 20 to 22 mark, I thought, maybe the Knicks would take him or the Rockets at 23, 24, and then they didn't. And I was really, I think everybody's just kind of baffled and confused why he fell so far. I don't know if it's because he only played 12 games or just, the 3 point, concern that he has or the height, but very surprising he fell as far as he did. It was starting at the point, it's like, is he even going to get drafted at this point?
Yeah.
But, I think at 48 for the Hawks, that's a phenomenal value for him. I think he's going to get to be, he's an Atlanta kid. He played, his high school ball in Atlanta. So for him to stay home and, learn behind Trae Young, that's going to be huge for him.
Yeah. King, why do you you think why do you think he dropped so far and what do you think? Like why do you think it?
For me, I think it has to do a little bit with the height, the size, and the shooting. Let's look at, for instance, Trae Young. If you'd have just took 13 games from when Trae Young played and took 4 of his games and added those in when he had those bad shooting, Trae Young probably would have dropped a little bit too. I don't know how far, but Trae Young would have dropped because he had a few games where you was like, yo, I don't know about Trae Young shooting. And he's small. But he was a floor general just like Sharif is. So the sample size for Trae was a lot bigger because we saw more good than we seen bad. We don't know where it's going to be for Sharif because how many games he played. So I think that's why he dropped so low.
You can go ahead and go, Blake.
So I think I know, as I know, I did the draft telecast and place of King, and throughout the whole first round, I was hoping the Hawks would get a backup point guard the first round. As a Florida fan, I obviously wanted Trey Mann. I saw him go to OKC at number 18. I immediately thought, okay, Sharif Cooper is the guy. Unfortunately, the Hawks go with Jalen Johnson, who was actually a pretty good pick as well. But Travis Slank, as our good buddy Hawks Fan TV says, is playing chess while the whole rest of the league is playing checkers. Sharif Cooper drops all the way down to 48. Travis Slank had some plan in his mind that something like that would happen, and the Hawks ended up stealing him as well.
Yeah, I think and this is for both of our picks, we didn't know we were going to get Jalen Johnson because if you're a mock draft guy, Jalen Johnson was supposed to be top 15, really. Let's be honest. He was really supposed to be top 5 when he came into college. And then I think because I think if you go back to ESPN's way too early, like 2021 mock draft, he was like number 5. And we were taking, I forgot who we were taking, but we were, they had us in the lottery. So of course we exceeded expectations, but you don't think like Brandon Boston, a lot of those guys in the top 5 didn't go, or the top 15 didn't go 15. I think I think it was weird. Like for Sharif to drop to 48 for what he did at Auburn, even if it was 12 games, it was still like a great sample size. Like you can teach some of his shooting and some of the other things that he can learn. He's automatically just built to be a ball dominant guy. But when he comes in, he's going to make everybody else better. And we've seen Trae Young. He had to have a good team around him, but still, he made everybody better this year. Everybody that touched the ball from Trae, like Clint Capella, was never averaging the numbers he did with James Harden or with Chris Paul. John Collins might have been a little bit less efficient, but when John Collins got Trae Young, his numbers went up. When Kevin Huerter was in the starting lineup with Trae, his numbers went up because Trae gives you a point guard, basically. Let's say like that. He's a point guard. So Will, what do you think? So Sharif comes in here being, the next or the backup guy. How do you feel about that now? Do you think that he can thrive in that backup role while he's here? I got you.
Yeah, I think he can, absolutely. I mean, I think, knowing, he could play the backup role. I mean, it could be that he may start in the G League a little bit too. I mean, I think that would be a really good place for him to be. I know there was a trade in the works for DeLon Smith. I know with the Tristan Thompson, the Chris Dunn trade. So, I mean, he could definitely fill in that backup point guard position down the road, if not, this season. And, be a good addition to the second unit for the Hawks, having a guy that can get, he's an outstanding passer. I mean, he is an absolute wizard with the ball. And just, you guys talked about him being a floor general. And I just think that, he'd be definitely be a good addition to the second unit for the Hawks.
Yeah, I would have to
Go ahead,
agree. Yeah, I'll have to agree with you, Will, with him being a great addition to the second unit. But my question is really about him. What is his ceiling? Like, where do you see him going in the NBA? Like, who is a good comparison for him?
Well, I hadn't really thought about that, to be honest. I mean, he's got a little. I mean, Chris Paul is kind of a big comparison. I guess that would be, if he's anything like Chris Paul, then the Hawks really got to steal. I mean, I'm just trying to think of point guards. Any pass first point guard that you could think of would probably be a guy. Just somebody, and you could also somewhat make the comparisons to Trae Young a little bit, maybe, just because of what he did in college. But it's going to take some time. This is not something. He's definitely not a finished product. He's got a long way to go, but he can definitely have a nice career in the NBA.
Yeah. Once again, I agree with you there. So for me, back to the backup role, I think it fits him perfectly sitting behind somebody like Trae Young. Only for the simple fact because they are similar in everything kind of they do. So once again, working on shooting is something that Trae Young could help him with. Being a better floor general is something Trae Young can help him with. So backing up Trae Young, of course, with Lou Will, I think that's great because Lou Will's going to teach him some things too. So that's a lot of that. What about you, Blake, in the backup role?
See, I like the couple points that we've all made here. While he's not a finished product, ultimately he doesn't need to be. We all said before the draft we wanted the guy that was a better facilitator than Trae Young, and just because he doesn't have to start right away, that allows him to go on and be a groomed, better finished product later in years. I do want to bring up an interesting point that maybe with the DeLon Wright trade, there might not be a Lou Williams return in Atlanta. We can get to that later in the show. But I absolutely love this pick. I mean, as you said, he's an Atlanta guy. I'm sure he's glad to be back here. And, as we stated as well, he's the second guy only behind Trae Young to average 20 and 8 in college. And I think the ceiling is going to be great for this guy, especially playing with, a lot of veterans in that second unit like Gallo and possibly Lou Will again. So.
And the one thing I would add to your point, Blake, is, he thought it was going to be a first-round pick. A lot of people did. That kid's motivated as all get out, being dropping all the way midway second round. So that only helps the Hawks out for sure.
I love his quote. He quoted himself, and he just said, "I'm gonna quote him. I don't know if I'm not gonna quote it word for word, but he said, He said, I'm going to put the jersey on and represent my city." Like they asked him, did he grow up a Hawks fan? He said, "Yeah." He said, "Of course I did." I grew up watching ISO Joe and Josh Smith, and that's the team I grew up with. So it was kind of sort of like I could relate to that because those are the guys that we growing up, like those were like the team. That was the team we used to love watching Hawks play. And so to see him, now he's on the team where he grew up wanting to be, and he grew up here in Atlanta, and he gets to be at home. Like that's going to be a big boost for him. I think his morale. I feel like he won't. And he said God always has a plan. And I love that quote too. He said, God doesn't make mistakes. And I agree with that because we were not, and it was so weird because Travis Sling said himself, we weren't expecting him to be at 48. I think nobody expected him to be at 48. And then you get him, and it's just like, whoa, Sharif dropped all the way down here? It was like, whoa, okay. And that made a lot of people more, I think it made a lot of people excited because we wanted those two players. Let's be honest. You were going to want Sharif, or you was going to, point guard wise, we either wanted Sharif or Trey Mann because those are the two guys that were actual point guards. And you bring Sharif, and it's just like, yeah, that's good. That was cool. And so at Auburn, what was the reasoning? Like when he got recruited there, what was the whole mindset? Because I know he was in high school, everybody knew he was Sharif, like he was that guy. So when he got to Auburn, he played a couple of games and he showed you what he was. Was the excitement high? Like, was it a super high thing there, or was it more like we knew he was going to do this?
I mean, I think that the excitement level definitely was much higher than it was. I mean, we talked about this earlier, and Matt. It's a shame we never got to see him play in a full Auburn arena. That would have, as someone that was part of the jungle for 4 years and experienced that on a night-to-night basis, it's unbelievable to think, or how Sharif would have just ignited the crowd so much, and just the crowd really, I feel like that was a big part. I mean, fans don't win games, crowds don't win games, but when you go play at Auburn Arena when it's jam packed and full, it definitely can turn the game sometimes. But the expectation levels went rose up once Sharif came back. I don't think anybody really thought he was going to go off for 26 and 28 in his first 2 games and play as much, but once he got in the lineup, he just made everybody better, and they had to have him on the floor a lot. I know the final record was not what I think a lot of folks expected this year, but he was playing with a whole bunch of freshmen and sophomore underclassmen, and the Auburn team from 1920 had so many veteran leaderships, and of course, and Isaac Okoro. But Isaac Okoro, even though he was a freshman, he played like a senior, or had the mindset of a senior. So it was a whole new group for Auburn last year, and there was so much hype and excitement for Sharif to get to Auburn. He's been recruited by Bruce Pearl for so long, and once he stepped on the court, it was good to see the real deal.
Okay, King, I'm gonna throw this question at you. So for us, because we've covered we've covered every game this year basically. For our backup point guard, we remember when we were dying to have a backup point guard.
Yeah,
Someone like that was a floor general, like
exactly.
because we had Rondo, and Rondo was Rondo. Let's put it like that. But we had, then we brought in Lou, and Lou did the same thing. But how do you think Sharif, if he does get that backup role this year, how do you think it feels for him? Like, how do you think he'll develop in that role?
For me, we gotta look at it as if it's going to be Rondo. So, I wouldn't think he would score a lot of points. Off the second unit, they're really just going to use him to be the floor general. Like, don't expect him to score a lot of points if he gets that backup role, and expect a lot of mistakes. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, especially in the NBA. Just look at Trae Young when he first came in. He was making a lot of mistakes, and it was just like, okay, this is the reason we're losing. We got to tighten up these mistakes. So I expect the same thing, not to be saying the comparison to him and Trae Young, and he's going to be just like Trae Young, but in a sense, in so many ways, it's going to look a lot similar. Even if he's half of Trae Young off the bench, he's a whole Trae Young off the bench, if that makes sense. So I would love to see that.
What do you think, Blake?
To build off
Even
what
though
I said,
you wanted to see Trey Man, we know you wanted Trey Man, but
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter as much as you would think. And you remember the show when Kyle Trask went to Tampa. I was absolutely pissed about that. But I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter like that because we don't expect him to be the guy. He could go out there and have some nights, and that's all fine by us. But ultimately, this was the guy we needed to help Trae Young for future years as a facilitator. But as you said, T, it saves the Hawks money many years down the line because we all know the budget is gonna get tight. And having a backup point guard all of a sudden on lock for 4, maybe 5 years in the future, all of a sudden you got a lot more money to be able to deal around. And I have another point on Jalen Johnson when we get to that point, speaking on the future budget. But yes, I believe that even if he doesn't get the backup point guard role at the beginning of the year, I could definitely see him being the main guy by the end of the year, by the time he develops. Because we saw the same thing with Trey. Got a lot better at the end of his first year.
So let's see, because you said his name. Will, I don't know if you've probably watched all college basketball, but you're an Auburn guy. So Jalen Johnson, coming out of high school, King, you're a Duke guy, so out of high school, he was like, it was weird because he didn't play his sophomore. It wasn't his sophomore. It was his junior year, I think, when he went to IMG, and then. Was it second or third? I'm trying to figure out. I think it was second or third year. He didn't play at IMG, and he came back and played like 13 games at his old high school, and then still went to Duke. So that shows he has talent. I don't think you get to Duke on a scholarship or on an offer if you don't have talent. Now, what my thing for what I say about Jalen Johnson is there's a guy by the name of Michael Porter Jr. who was a forward that didn't play in college a lot, and he got to the NBA and people were doubting him. He got hurt a couple times and stuff like that. But I think we have two guys with a small sample size, and we'll get to see him in Vegas next week. But I'll throw this at King first. Jalen Johnson is the third forward basically at this point on the roster. He's going to be our number, and he's going to be basically trying to take Gallo's spot. That's what I would think. You think the same way?
No, I don't. The more research I'm doing, the more I'm looking into this. Jalen Johnson is trade bait to me. It's either him or Cam. One of them is not going to make the roster, and we going to have to figure out. Well, we not, but Slank is going to have to figure out who's going to make the roster. I don't think he's going to go into it with 3 forwards and have Gallo. So that's what I think. I think he's trade bait or Cam was trade bait. Somebody's getting traded out of those two. I don't think we keep both of them because, like I've said, they're ideally the same, except for Cam's a better shooter and Jalen's more athletic. So for me, it's either you got to keep one or you don't go in with 3.
I think for what's up, Wallace?
Wallace.
So my thing for about that is that we all know Gallo's money isn't guaranteed next year. Or if you don't know, Gallo's money isn't guaranteed next year. So if anything, I can see Gallo might get. I don't want to say that, but if Gallo's money isn't guaranteed next year, and Jalen Johnson can come in this year, which we've heard Slink say they didn't work him out, but they've heard from like around the league. I mean, we watched his Clutch. What was it? Clutch Sports. They did their whole thing on TV. So like we saw him work out. Like we saw his pre-draft workout. So I don't know what we do. I don't know. I don't know if I don't think they're trade bait just yet. I say trade deadline. If one of them, I don't see how I have to see rotations. I think that's what I had to see now is our rotation. So, but for Will, you were college basketball guy. What did you think of Jalen Johnson? I don't know if you watched him a lot, but if you did, what did you think of him? Like, what did you see in him?
I mean, I know there was a lot of, you guys have kind of covered, he left IMG Academy, went back to high school. And then, of course, he left Duke midway through the season in February. Probably one of the most disappointing Duke teams, or definitely the most disappointing Duke team, probably in over at least 20, 25 years. I don't know. I was never really impressed with Jalen Johnson, to be honest with you. And I've watched a lot of Duke games over the years, and they've had so many great one and done freshmen to come through, but I just, for whatever reason with Jalen Johnson, very talented, but just didn't seem like he could ever put it together while he was in Durham.
I want to see how that works. I didn't watch a lot of Duke last year, and I really want to. I think Snake is stacking up talent to make a trade for a star, or at least he's hoping one limit. I think Cam has the most star potential. DeAndre Hunter, of course we know Hunter is going to be a star, but I think Cam can turn into a star, or we don't know. Jalen Johnson might turn into a star. We just don't. We just don't know. That's why I say summer league is going to be big for us. I'm thinking about trading Gallo at deadline. That's what I'm. The only thing about, like I was saying, Gallo's money isn't guaranteed next year, so he'll be on like I think if he gets waived, it's like we get $5 million dead cap or something like that. I have to look at it, but yeah, I can see us trading Gallo at the deadline. I can see that but that's only if Jalen Johnson can perform. What do you think about that, King?
For me, I want to get to this comment first. Don't ever disrespect a Duke player like that. Anybody that wants to attempt a jump shot is already better than Ben Simmons. If you're not attempting a jump shot, cool. But he at least shot 18 of them. That's probably more than Ben Simmons has shot his whole NBA and
It
college
is. He
career
only shot
combined.
two. He only shot
So
two in the NBA. So I mean, that's
yeah. So let's not do that. But what was the question again?
If Jalen Johnson comes in here, like let's say summer league he balls out, and we get to the trade deadline and he's like outperforming Gallo, does Gallo become a trade piece?
Well, get way more for Gallo. So if that's the case, yeah. But I would rather have Gallo before I take Jalen Johnson because you already know what you're going to get from Gallo. You already know what you're going to get. And I'm one of those people where if I know what I'm going to get from you and I kind of don't know what I'm going to get from Jalen, I'm going to go with Gallo. But yeah, from a business side, Gallo would get you more because of what you already know what you can get from him.
And he frees up money.
Yes, that is true.
He's making like the most money on the team right now. Like that's a lot. Like a 31-year-old player is making the most money, and we got almost who do we have? We got Trey's max is coming up next year. Well, this year, next year type thing. JC's going to get paid. We're going to talk about that. I don't know, man. I don't know what happens if Gallo could get traded in a package deal to free up some money. You could have Jalen played it behind. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I don't know, man. I don't know if it could come like that. It has to be something like that. Jalen passes like Simmons. What's going on, Hawks fan? Jalen passes like Simmons and defends like Ben, like Simmons. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. I just don't know. He played 13. That's a knock on him though, because people ask about his motor. And what if he has the drive enough to basically want to play? If he shows you he wants to play, I feel like he wants to play. Because he said in his interview with Malika, he said, I want to get back to playing basketball. I haven't played competitive basketball since January. Like, I want to see him in Summer League. And we'll get into Summer League roster in a minute. Maybe we can trade Cat for Cat now that we have enough small forwards. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Everybody wants Cat, and I understand why y'all want Cat because he stretches the floor.
Nobody wants Cat.
There's a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people that want
Hawks
Cat.
fan TV. What up, homie?
Hawks fan is in here. Hopefully,
I made a connection to you earlier, Hawks fan.
Hopefully, the Collins contract. I think it's for 5 years because they're saying it's like 120 million or something like that. So I think it's gonna be for 5 years, and that gives him a player option at the end probably. We need to trade Gallo and Capella for Cat. I could see that happening. I don't think we trade Capella though. Man, y'all don't understand what Capella did last year for us. He's still an all NBA defensive player. They need to see what he can do. Whoa. That's breaking news. Jalen just opted out because of COVID. What? Oh, God. Hold up. Now I got to check. What?
Jalen who? Not Johnston.
I hope he's not Jalen talking about Jalen Johnson.
Get the fuck out of it. Oh, excuse my language.
I hope not. I hope he didn't just opt out. Oh, my God. Please don't tell me he opted out.
King, you were just telling your kids to get the fudge out of the room, right? That's all.
Yeah. We don't need Cat. I don't think we need Cat at all. I don't. No, you don't want Cat. No, he's weak. No, he is very weaker than JC.
Now we're on the Cat topic. May I make a point?
Yeah.
So I know. We saw it in our group chat earlier. The Hawks are interested in maybe acquiring JaVale McGee to be the backup guy until OO returns around Christmas time. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I personally love the move.
I like it. Jesus Christ, Nathan Knight had 36. I like it. I like it. Okay. You talking about his freshman year? Okay. I was about to say, yeah, he did opt out. Yeah. But that's why I say you did.
And they got better.
Okay.
They got better once he opted out. The season started going a lot better.
But Duke
once
still underperformed. You still underperformed.
Okay, understood they underperformed, but you have to realize what they was coming from. They was coming off of having three of the best superstars in college basketball. So at that point, we didn't know what Duke was going to be after that. And so I just want to agree with Wallace and say he underperformed.
I'm not. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna. My favorite Duke team. I know you probably gonna hate me for this. Was the Grayson Allen years. I love those Duke teams for
I
some
can't
reason.
stand Grayson Allen.
I
I
love the
don't think
Grayson
Leandro
Allen
loved
at
that.
Duke. I don't know why. I just love because he just acted cocky. I don't know. He acts the same way in the NBA, but it just doesn't hit the same. But when he was at Duke and he was hitting shots, and it was just like, oh, okay, there goes Grayson again. I
Okay,
love Grayson at Duke. I don't
I'm
know
glad I'm not the
why.
only
That was my
person that
guy.
watched Duke that's not a big Grayson Allen fan. Just FYI, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know what it is about him either, but I just, for whatever reason, didn't care for him that much.
I had a weird. I mean, that was when I first started really liking Duke, the program. I think he was like one of the first guys. I was like, okay, yeah. That's like I still like what's the guy from North Carolina, the big dude with the big white guy with the beard. I can't think of his name, but I liked him too. Um, but that was when I was really that's when I started really watching college basketball. I don't know if Cat would move. I don't think he does at all. Cat doesn't move the needle for us. He really doesn't.
He
Um,
definitely doesn't move it for me. I can tell you that.
Well, King gonna have to get out of here real quick, y'all. Thank you. You know,
Ye-
he came in real quick, gave us his little opinion about these two guys. Thank you for coming in, King. We'll probably when you next King's round?
King's round will be on Wednesday. Wednesday.
Set your
Um,
calendars.
yeah, check your calendars. It's full effect. Back on camera. I'm back to my boogie. Y'all see me on Twitter tomorrow, so I'll be telling everybody to be great, and I'll be telling everybody about my bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
So
And then
I'm hyped.
you come back Wednesday, and our first game is Sunday. So
Exactly. So I'm hyped. I'm on my boogie tonight, and I'll see y'all on Wednesday and on Twitter. So make sure y'all go follow me on Twitter. As y'all
Hey,
know,
King,
yo,
I love how you just finished school the other day because I start my senior year tomorrow. So you're
ah,
passing the torch.
God, high
passing the
school. You still in
torch.
high school, man. That
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah,
I felt like school just ended. I was on playoff runs with you. Oh my god.
yeah. And I want to thank Full Sail, yo. I learned so much from Full Sail and
Future full
T.
cell grad right here.
Yeah, T. Yo,
I can't wait to
you're
go
gonna
there.
enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy it, brother. You're gonna enjoy it.
I
And
think we
Blake,
both gonna be there.
yeah, go on campus if you can. It is like a great experience. I did online, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it, and I got a bachelor's degree, so I'm on my boogie. But I'll catch y'all on King's Room on Wednesday. Peace.
Wednesday night, y'all. Wednesday night. In my opinion, our bench, I don't know, our bench is run. I don't. I'm trying to read this. Reef at the one, Boogie at the two, Bogey at the two, Kevin at the three, Jalen at the four, and Gallo at the five. No, I think our bench when OO comes back, our bench would come if Reef makes the number one backup role. It'd be him, Kev. I think Cam still's coming off the bench unless Cam starts going crazy. I think Cam still comes off the bench. Jaden's at the four, and you have OO at the five. But it just depends how you move around the roster. Because as if OO does not, I mean, that you have to move it around, especially when OO comes back. That's my thing. Who is that?
Still all right, baby.
Oh wow, wow. We're gonna get it all right. Let me see. Let me go through these comments. We'll get it all right. We need
After the
something to be
comments, says
exposed in the
something.
playoffs. AV defense was terrible. I'm not blanking it, but he had to guard and beat in Giannis. Bobby Porter exposed JC. I don't say he exposed. I can't remember the last time a dude player came to the league and didn't perform. Um, RJ really did. I guess you can say RJ performed. I mean, he did go crazy after a while. He had to get adjusted. Cam, well, Brandon Goodwin's gone, so that's a painful picture.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Cat, I don't know. Cat is not a superstar. Let's not give Cat that much credit that he's a superstar. Cat's not a superstar. Um, yeah, and Cat has no defense. I don't think Cat made two. He made 2018. I don't give him superstar status. When you're in Minnesota, I don't give you superstar status. Like you've been on bad teams. You don't get superstar status on bad teams. Um, they're probably gonna have Wright starting out, backing up Trey. So okay,
Maybe.
the the
He's
the
got some size.
we've had a couple of moves in this Hawks organization. Let's go ahead and get through it. Goodwin's gone. Dunn's gone, and Bruno's gone.
Solo and Snell are currently in free agency.
Then Solo and Snell are free agents. And Lou's a free agent.
Yeah, and Lou.
So
Like he'll be back.
we're missing 6 guys off the roster. But let's say Brandon Goodwin, we didn't offer him a qualifying offer, so he's unrestricted. Dunn got traded to Boston.
Same with Bruno.
Bruno, they both got traded to Boston. And then,
Yeah,
like we said, Solo and Snell are in free and Lou are all in free agency. But in the trade with Bruno and Dunn, we did get DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
So what you get with DeLon Wright is somebody that he can facilitate, but he can score.
He can go off on any given night.
I'm saying he's a walking bucket, man. He will give you buckets. So I think that's what we needed off the bench for us, which will bring you back in the conversation. Sharif has done that before. Sharif can come off the bench and give you at least. I mean, his offense, like you said, is a lot of driving to the paint and getting fouled, but he can score. I forgot what game. I think it was Baylor. He hit a deep 3, like a step back 3 or something like that, and it was a good play. Like I was like, okay, so he can give you buckets when he needs to. How do you see him as like a scorer type?
I mean, I think it's kind of going to be kind of tough. Just because a lot of his offense this past year was just going to the basket and trying to draw contact and get fouled. He did. He scored a lot. Don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of games where he did a lot of his damage at the free throw line. He does. He was able to knock down a couple threes here and there, but consistently, that's going to be the biggest thing for him going forward.
I think that's my thing. Travis Slink is a genius. Yes, he is. Travis Slink is a genius.
Most definitely.
I feel like DeLon had the Chris Dunn role. I think DeLon gets a little bit more minutes than Chris Dunn.
I don't think he's anywhere
if Chris Dunn
is.
I was say if Chris Dunn would have been able to play this year, he probably would have got a lot of minutes. Like I don't know, man.
I don't see that.
Sharif is going. Yeah, Sharif has to learn. Sharif's going to have to learn. With all the guards we have, do you see Lou resigning with the team, and who do we use? So we have 3 guards on the team right now, which is point guards. We have Sharif, Trey, and Skylar Mays. Skylar Mays is on a 2-way. So I'm gonna stop right there, but I'm gonna get into that because we gotta talk about some movie. But about Lou, I think they said there's 2 teams. I think it's like the Pacers and the Bucks are gonna go really hard at him. I'm not mad at him if he joins the Bucks. I can understand why he would want to. They just won the ring. He wants to go for another one. I don't know, man. It just has to go up. It has to go to it. I don't know, man. It just has to see. I hope we get. I hope we're able to get JaVale. I want to get. Okay, so free agency. Free agency. Some of the guys I want us to look at are all centers. Really, only 2 guys I really want to look at is Bismack Biyombo and JaVale McGee. Those are the 2 guys I really want to look at. Biyombo's 28. Young, so he's younger. He's about Clint Capella's age. He's bigger. He's a bigger guy. He'll get you some. He'll get you some stuff. So I think. Wow. Okay. I think JaVale. Brings you a lot. I think JaVale gets you a lot. I think he does. Bismack Biyombo, big guy. We've watched Biyombo for how many years? Yeah, I don't think Lou's coming back. I don't think we was assigning it right. I don't think so either. Trae Young equals Isaiah Thomas and Sharif. So Isaiah, I can see maybe. 2 small guards. Let me see. Bucks won't win again. They're first, and Kyrie twisted his ankle.
And Trey.
Maybe I got it. I had to see that. I have to see it for itself. I don't know, man. JaVale or Robin. I don't like Robin.
Definitely not the one.
Cancer's nice.
Definitely not
Cancer's nice. I do like Cancer. I forgot Cancer's a free agent. Would bring back JC, bring back Mays, bring back Knight, sign the guy who won a ring for mentorship, Sean JaVale. So my thing is about Nathan Knight. This is crazy. I just saw this. I don't know if y'all know who Jamila J is on Twitter. Please give her a follow. She's one of the better analysts. She does WNBA and NBA. Nathan Knight was the player of the game. He finished 30 with 36 points. Nathan Knight in a AEBL, if y'all know what that is, that's the Atlanta basketball. It's like a league because it was him, Mays, and Brandon Goodwin were on the team together.
Really?
And he finished with 36. So, and now everybody's gonna be like, well, he's just playing guys in the gym. He still finished with 36. And some of those guys are actual players. Most of them play overseas and stuff like that. The White too aggressive at times. The White they're trying to say the White's gonna go back to LA, which that makes LA one of the oldest teams. That'll make LA one of the oldest teams with Westbrook, LeBron, AD, the White.
Gasol.
They're talking about Gasol. They're talking about bringing in what's his name, DeRozan.
They're thinking about IT. Maybe.
Like they're gonna be really old, man. They're going to be really old. Has heart. I think Nathan Knight can give you a one. He can give you. He has enough game where he can give you, and he can catch. He catches lobs, and he's aggressive. He wants to get to the hoop. If
Now,
you
I
watch
think
Nathan
you
Knight
got to
film,
hit the weight
I
room.
wish people would go watch Nathan Knight's film from college. He's like a big point guard, bro.
Now he has to hit the weight room. Him or OO. One of them has to hit the weight
They're
room.
both gonna hit that weight
Separate.
room. Can't hit the weight room for months at this point.
Yeah. But Nathan, if he wants to get an edge on him, hit the weight room, bro.
I think Nathan's big, bro. Nathan looks big. Like from this video, Nathan looks ginormous. Like he's already hit the weight. Like they're gonna get bigger. They're not, but you gotta think these guys aren't old. Like they're not even really in their grown man bodies.
No.
They're not like they're not grown. Like they're not like grown men yet. They're still in their 20s. Like you get to grown men strength in a while, and he's not even at grown men strength yet. So you gotta give him a couple of years to get built. Like remember LeBron? Let's remember LeBron when he first got to the league. 18-year-old LeBron was super skinny. Let's think of LeBron was now look at LeBron with almost 250 with pure muscle. Like it's different. You gotta just grow it. He has to grow into his body basically. Let's put it like that. He did. The White did date Tia. I remember that they did date. That was hilarious. The fact you remember that, I forgot about all that. Yeah, the White did date Tia. I like the moves the Hawks made so far. The trade was good along with the draft picks. Yeah, it was, man. We had a great draft. We had a great draft, and going into free agency, we did really good. Knight can back up Capella until Okongwu gets back from his injury. I want that. I would want that to give Knight minutes. I hope OO comes back before the All-Star break. Yeah, I think he comes back after All-Star break, though. I think you give him that All-Star break week, and then you start slowly bringing him in games. Because 6 months, and we got the news in early July, and he had the surgery. So yeah, I said All-Star break. That's what I said.
When, like late January,
early February, around Valentine's Day most times.
I was thinking he'd be back earlier than that. But we don't want to rush him. We saw what happened.
I don't want to rush anything, and we just got a new. If y'all don't know, we fired Chelsea Lane. I don't know if anybody know that we fired our health advisor.
Good. Good.
So she's gone. So now Slink brought her over with him. I think that's why she got that. Let's think about this. Let's think about these guys that we brought in, and let's just think about Atlanta sports in general. We brought in Henze, who was probably the worst coach we've had in Atlanta United history. We brought in, what's not?
I think it was Hines. I'm gonna be honest. I think it was Gabriel Hines.
Gabriel Hines. Hines. We brought in Hines, got rid of him. Who was Dan Quinn, which we're not gonna bring up. Lloyd
Mike
Pierce.
Smith.
Snit sometimes. Snit gets on my nerve a little bit.
Freddie Gonzalez.
Oh,
Yeah. To be Bobby Thompson.
Gonzalez. Oh God, don't even bring up Freddie Gonzalez, bro.
I met him.
Will, are you a Braves fan?
man, y'all triggering this Braves fan over here. My goodness.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we're all Braves fans over here.
Yeah, we're all. I forgot, but it's so weird that Braves kind of sort of stretch all of the South. We kind of sort of are the whole South. So I didn't know if you were an Auburn fan, you were a Braves fan. But
I've been a Braves fan much longer than an Auburn fan. When I started watching the Braves, they were on TBS, and that's how I got into it. So, but yeah, I've been a Braves fan for about 25 years, and
wow,
it's This has been one of the most frustrating years to watch, though. To be honest with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this I talked about it on my show earlier. This 500
Watching
mark is a
mediocre teams are the worst because you know that they can turn it around, but they don't. It's not like you know that they're rebuilding or the year's over. They're just right there and they can't push the corner. It's annoying.
We're not the Cubs. We're not the Cubs. We're not the who else? So we're not Washington. If we lose to Washington anytime later this year, and I think we play them again. If we play Washington, I'm going to be so mad.
We beat them 8 out of 10 times, so I don't expect that to change.
I would hope, man. We had to win the division, I think, really and truly. But
oh yeah,
wait. I want to talk about this. Where did this come from? Where did this Quentin Grimes, the Trae Young stopper thing come from? Because all I've been seeing on Twitter is y'all posting him no highlights, just him dancing. It's
Zora,
just him dancing around. It's just like, yeah, he's gonna stop this man. They got the Trae Young stopper. When is there even anybody to stop Trae Young?
Shush, Zora. That's all I gotta say. I was in your own too, bro.
Oh yeah, Zora, he was in front of your stadium, man. Quentin, the guy, yes, bro, they're overrating him. So I don't even know where is he from?
So he started his career at Kansas, and then he ended up at Houston. And honestly, like when the Knicks took him, I was really surprised. I was thinking because to me, I thought that was a Sharif potential landing spot, and they took Grimes. I was really shocked by that. But yeah, he started at Kansas, but he was at Houston, and that Houston team was a really good defensive team this year.
I don't think
But Trae Young, I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I'm like that. Like if you look at what Trae Young has done to everybody that's supposed to stop him, even let's think about it. Even Drew Holiday, he was giving Drew Holiday is supposed to be the best guarding defender in the league. Well, guarding point. Well, let's not say guarding because Kawhi is the best defender. Kawhi's the best defender. I say he's the best defending guard.
Yeah, remember Ntilikina was supposed to stop him. Randall was supposed to stop him. Ben Simmons was supposed to stop him. Thibault was supposed to stop him. Drew, come on now.
Yeah, and then they got Deuce McBride. I don't even know who Deuce McBride is. Like when I watched the Knicks draft, I was just like, who? I was like, okay, yeah, haven't had a good coach since Bobby Cox retired. So let's think. It was Bobby.
It was 2010.
Freddie.
And now Smith. Bobby retired in 2010. Freddie got fired early 2016. And since then, the guy since.
There's been Smith ever since. So yeah, I don't know. Think there's guys from the draft, but yeah, bro, they didn't even draft. I thought they were at least gonna go with another forward or something like that because of course you have RJ, but RJ's more of a 2 in my eyes. Unless you're moving Randall to the 3, and then maybe putting Obi Toppin at the 4. I just it doesn't make sense to me. And then you drafted 2 guards, and you drafted Quickly last year, and Quickly showed flashes. So I don't know.
And I can tell you, Zora, you don't.
I want to see, man. I do want to. I think if they get to championship, we'll play y'all. But I'm gonna get into some of Kev was better than have the Knicks. Oh my God, Kev showed out this whole playoffs. I don't know if you watched us in the playoffs, but I will say Kevin Huerter showed off this whole playoff run. Like that red man. Anybody showing the Hawk? I'm going, Antonio. I think you're going too.
I'll be there with you, Tim.
We'll be there.
I'll be with you. Is King
we'll
going?
be there next Saturday. You don't want that's what everybody's saying. There must be something all these teams saw on the street that made a lot of teams pass on him. I don't know what's good.
We spoke about this earlier, Zora. He only played 12 games in college. Wasn't a great of a scorer. I mean, that's the same reason Trae Young thought he'd drop. But ultimately, he played a full season. And, the Hawks had a big light on him. But, I mean, we spoke about this earlier, Zora. I think he'll do just fine, especially if he gets a little bit of time to develop.
I just want him to be a passer, man. I really don't need him to score a lot. Like, Trae Young is going to give you buckets. And then in the bench unit, let's think. If Cam's coming off the bench, you got Gallo. I just need him to be able to pass the ball around. Yeah. And make their offense run. Because our offense got really stagnant when we didn't have a backup point guard last year.
I mean, just think of the bench. DeLon's going to get you buckets. Cam's going to get you buckets on certain nights. Gallo's going to get you buckets. Yeah. Maybe JaVale. They're going to get their job done. Kevin.
If the Hawks get JaVale and he's on the second unit with Sharif be throwing a bunch of lobs at JaVale. And
Trae and Capella, Sharif and JaVale. Make it happen.
Yeah. Trae sent Philly into rebuild. They're trading here, bro. They sent Philly into a deep rebuild, bro. Man, that's crazy. That's wild.
Process no more.
Yeah, like there's no process. That's so crazy. Well, we know Kyle Kuzma, um, is going to Washington. Going to our competition. Kyle Kuzma's going to Washington. We got to deal with who do we have to deal with next year? In the who do they draft? Suggs. So we have to deal with Suggs next year. We'll have to see his rookie year what he does. Who else drafted in our? What did Washington draft?
Corey Kispert.
Oh yeah, we got to deal with Kispert. I think Kispert has Kyle Korver potential. Um,
Which is all right. You know,
Kyle Korver is a good role player. I think
yeah.
Kispert has a little bit more of a handle, maybe, but Kispert's a sniper, man. Like he's a sniper. So we'll have to see those guys. Um, like you got something to say?
Yeah, I had a couple of things to say that I've been waiting on a little bit. So is it okay if I ramble for a minute or two?
Yeah,
'Cause
you
I
got
two
you got
or
it.
three things. Okay, so going back to what we were saying earlier on Jalen Johnson. Yeah, I think it would have been easier to say this while King was here because he could correct me on a few things I might say that are wrong. He's also a Duke Blue Devil. And I saw a couple of people, especially when I was doing the Kings Realm NBA draft telecast, a lot of people in the chat were saying that even though I was a little, iffy on the Jalen Johnson pick, and ultimately we got Sharif Cooper as well, everybody was saying that he might be ultimately a Cam Reddish more than a John Collins replacement because we all want John back. It all seems like he might be ultimately coming back to Atlanta within the next 24, 48 hours, which we all would love to see. But a lot of people were thinking that Jalen Johnson could be the next Cam Reddish. Because you spoke about this in a previous episode, T. After this season, depending on who plays better and who's healthier this year, Cam or Dre, one of them is going to go. This next offseason, one of them is going to get dealt. It just depends on who's healthier and who's the better guy this next year. And a lot of people are saying that Jalen Johnson might end up being the void that one of them is the one that we lose. He's going to fill the void. And that's why I kind of like the Jalen Johnson pick more than a lot of people think. That he could play the John filler. We don't want that, but if not, he can end up being the Cam Reddish or DeAndre Hunter void replacement. Because I think it's safe to say after this year, one of them is probably gone due to money reasons. My second point is on the Lou Williams train. So we also talked about earlier how Sharif Cooper might ultimately end up not being the backup point guard game one, especially throughout the first couple of months if he goes to the G League. And the only way I could see really Lou Williams coming back on is if later, in those training camp stages in the preseason, if Sharif Cooper's struggling, if there's an injury, if DeLon Wright doesn't feel like he wants to play the one, if Lou Williams is still out there, I could see the Hawks bringing him back just so they have a little bit more stability at that backup guard position. Maybe it gives Sharif Cooper some time in the G League if necessary. It allows DeLon Wright to maybe do a little bit more of what he can at the 2 and 3. So I could maybe see Lou Williams coming back if he's still there later, in the offseason. That's a very what-if scenario. And the last thing I want to say is, we were rounding out the roster earlier, and I agree with a lot of our points. A lot of our points are made. I think we agree we want to bring JC back. If it ends up being the 5-year, $120 million contract, that is perfect. That is an absolute steal. And I think that'll be worth it in the long run. JaVale McGee, I'd love to see. I think you and I were pointing on this earlier. The man is 7 foot or whatever. He's a great rebounder. He's going to go out there and get what you need in that bench unit. And maybe if Capella's having a bad night and OO's back at the time, JaVale's going to be able to give you minutes of what those guys can't. So I love that. I love that idea. Skylar Mays and Nathan, I do think stay on the 2-way contracts for one more year. I already mentioned, bringing in Sharif Cooper and Jalen Johnson was a great idea. And then who am I missing? I mean, I guess if there's a last roster spot, I could maybe see the Hawks going after, Tony Snell on a minimum if they need a little bit more depth. Because, let's be honest.
There's going to be Solo.
Yeah, I guess Solo because he's got that defensive presence. But
no, Solo's your Udonis Haslem.
Yeah. I could
see the guy on the bench that you don't mess with. He's just crazy. Basically.
I could see maybe one of them coming back if there's another roster spot needed. Because, Solo's that defensive crazy man. Of course, he's that locker room vet. He's been on a lot of deep playoff runs. But you can't forget Snell. We got enough shooting on this team as it is. But he's one of the very few people that can say in modern NBA history he's in the 50-50-100 club. So I could see maybe us bringing them back or Lou back later in the offseason. Anyway, all my points are settled. Back to you, too.
So our Summer League roster at this moment is Sharif Cooper, Justin Jaworski from Lafayette, Louisiana. Jalen Johnson, of course, Nathan Knight, Jeremiah Martin from the Canton Charge in the G League, Skylar Mays, OO is scratched, Cam Reddish and Ivy Watson.
Could you imagine if VG was on that team?
What'd you say?
Could you imagine if VG was also on that team?
Man, that would be crazy. But getting to some Atlanta news. Jose Alvarado is going to the Pelicans, and Moses Wright is going to summer league with the Raptors. Um,
Hmm.
which is so weird. Will,
Jose
you give your input
Alvarado.
on this? Moses Wright had a dominant year and didn't get drafted before, and Nayron Sharp, Dayron Sharp got drafted. So, what was the difference in between those two? Is it like potential or age, or what do you think their thing was?
Probably, but I can't really speak too much on either because I didn't watch a whole lot, to be honest with you, man. But I know Kendrick Perkins was really high on Dayron Sharp in the draft because he was calling for him to get picked probably 10, 15 picks before he actually did get picked. So that's about all I can say, to be honest with you, because it's just I hadn't watched either one of those too much.
Okay, because I felt like Moses Wright wasn't he was like the ACC Player of the Year or something like that, and I was like, why did he not go higher? It just felt weird.
I guess the only thing I could say maybe is the potential. I think Sharp was a one and done as well, and
Mm-hmm.
and I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But it's wasn't right there for 4 years, or is he a one and done too?
I think Mark Wright was there for a minute. I think he was
Okay,
there. I know, yeah, because he's 20. He was a senior.
yeah,
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so age is such a weird thing because you would think you would want an older player, but now it's like you want youth and developing. Zora, to answer your question, yeah. Oh my God, shoot you. To answer your question, Zora, yeah, he's playing in summer league because he hasn't played, but he missed half the season this freshman year. Boy, I said freshman, his rookie year, and he missed most of this season. So yeah, it's gonna have to go. Yeah, I think that they're trying to retool their whole backcourt, which is
Yeah.
gonna be a weird situation for them. You got to build around Bam and J. I said JB. What is his name?
Which
Oh my
position are you
God,
talking about?
the crazy one, Jimmy
Chris
Butler.
Silva?
No, Butler.
yeah.
You gotta
Jimmy.
build between around those two. You
See,
have
the thing
to.
on my thing with the Heat T, and I don't know if Choo will agree with me or not. I mean, they're a solid team. I mean, there's no reason they made the finals and we're also in the top playoff seeds again this year. My thing with the Heat is they don't have a lot of separation between the first and second year, especially if you look on paper. Speaking on if the team was healthy last year, you had a first unit of Dragic, Hero, Butler, um, Adebayo. Forgive me, I don't really know who runs the four. Was it Iguodala? I could be wrong. Sorry if I'm pissing you off, Choo.
I think it was
But I mean,
Iggy. I think it
yeah, it
was
might have.
Iggy. Was
I
at the
think it was
four.
Iggy. But I mean, then you look at if their bench was healthy, it's almost looks like a similar lineup. You got none on the second unit. If Oladipo was healthy and he was still there, he'd be on that second unit. Chris Silva is one of the younger players in the NBA. I think I already mentioned Dragic. I mean, that team. Trevor Ariza was on that team. I don't think he'll be back. I mean, but he's like an Iguodala of the second unit. I mean, the thing with that team is they're solid, but they don't have that main separation that brings the level of intensity between the first and second unit. Because I mean, I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. T. That team is. I mean, that team's solid. I mean, they're the Miami Heat for a reason. But I mean, they don't look like they have that jolt of energy between what the first unit and the second unit does. Especially on paper, they look almost exactly the same.
You have no cap space to get Lowry, DeRozan, and Batum.
No.
Jimmy's making a lot of money, and Bam is making a lot of money. Bam's making, I think, the most money on the team.
Yeah.
So you're
But
not.
would
You're
you
not.
agree with what I said?
Yeah, I think they don't. The team is old. Like the Heat are old at this point. In my
They
eyes,
got
the
the, they
Heat are
got the
getting
young
old.
guys. They got
They
a couple
have
young
young
guys.
guys, but I'm saying all around that team is
I mean, they
old.
traded a couple of young pieces. I mean, of course, Myers Leonard had it in it, but I mean, they lost a couple of their younger guys in unfortunate scenarios. In that Oladipo trade, they traded one of their younger guys. Myers Leonard had to be dealt for Trevor Ariza. I don't think they really wanted him, but the situation arose to make it to where they needed him. So.
Yeah, Cam win is some. I think I can believe that. Yeah, Lonzo's not coming to New York. Lonzo, I think, has the best chance of trying to stop Trey Young, but then he got put 42 on his head. So yeah, was it 42 or was 40 or something like that? I just remember that because that was the game they put that NBA Central put that post out talking about who's better, Trey Young or Lonzo Ball. So
No, I wish the Hornets fan was in here because I love how all Hornets fans they already have too many guards as it is, and they want to bring in Lonzo to go with LaMelo. But at the same time, they wanted Miles Plumlee out of there. But instead of that, they bring in the other Plumlees. I don't really think we know what the Hornets are doing. That's a whole other topic. But I mean, I wish he was in there because I know he'd be.
I like their book night play. I like their book night play for real. I like
They
that
just
book
have
night
too many
play.
guards.
They're
They
going to
got
get
the
rid of some of them.
twins. They got the
They're gonna
Martin
get rid-
twins.
Book night has to develop in my eyes. Will,
Yeah.
you can answer to that too. I think book night needs time to develop, so you can let some of those contracts go out.
I was just
We
going
got
to
Dre, Vontae.
yeah. I was just going to say I like their second round pick, but I'm a little biased saying that because it was JT Thor. But
Yeah.
but no, I mean they got Kai Jones from Texas too, along with Book Knight and JT Thor. So, but yeah, it's like they have a lot of guards, but I'm not really sure what they're doing in Charlotte. But
I do like that Kai pick. I think he could maybe go with PJ Washington very well. PJ Washington's a guy that can stretch the floor, will give you the lobs, almost like a John Collins. I mean, not the same type of player, but he has the potential to be, in my opinion.
I love. First off, I love JT Thor, Will, because JT Thor is an amazing player. I love watching him and Sharif play together. That was a crazy duo. But they picked JT Thor, Kai Jones, and Book Knight. My thing about Book Knight is not going to come in automatically and start. He can't. I don't think he has potential to, but I don't think he has. I think he still needs to develop some more. Kai Jones can come in and start. That's why I say Bismack Biyombo's is somewhere he can come to Atlanta and just be a backup guard while OO's gone.
I think I prefer JaVale.
I prefer JaVale, but I'm saying if we don't get JaVale, Bismack is still gonna sit there.
Ibaka's still there.
I mean, Bismack's younger than JaVale too. That's my thing. If you want to, no, Oladipo's not there no more. I think he's leaving.
Injuries.
Man, it's gonna be dirty. I don't see. No, I didn't. It's gonna take at least. LaMelo was ready to come into this league and start. He was ready to play in the NBA when he was like 16. Like he had developed himself into a crazy amount of player. So when he went to NBL and won, it was like, okay, yeah, we know what he wants to do. I think give Book Knight at least a year or two behind Terry Rozier.
What about
I think
Vontae?
Terry's going to train him, but and y'all might call me crazy for that, but I think Terry is going to be his vet.
What do you think Vontae's future is with Charlotte too?
I think Vontae's going to leave. I think they're not going to have they don't have a spot unless he's going to keep playing backup.
Well, they're getting rid of Malik Monk. They're getting rid of Malik Monk, so maybe that's his spot.
Yeah, I mean, if you get rid of Malik Monk, then you have LaMelo. Their four guards would be LaMelo, Terry, Devontae, and Book Knight. I think that's their four at this moment, getting rid of Monk.
Yeah.
So I can see Devontae and Book Knight coming off the bench this year, which is still crazy. That's still a crazy good month. That's a lot of scoring right there. Even if whoever else, like those two are going to give you at least 20 points a game. And that's why Terry and Zora's in here, so I know he's going to say something. But Terry, in the beginning of the year, my first half MIP was Terry Rozier. Because if nobody remembers this, if you do remember, Terry came out the gate scoring 50 a game. Remember,
LaMelo got healthy.
Yeah. When he came out the gate healthy, he scored 50 like in like 4 games, like the first 6 or something like that. And then he dunked on him. So I'm just like, yeah, he dunked on KD, and I was like, yeah, Terry's a different. He has that cockiness about him I like, and he's always a scary Terry, man. You can't really get rid of that. I think we do bring that one pro. Yeah, Luke, that's the thing. Luke called him. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Luke called him the night he got drafted. He said Trey called him first, and then Luke called second.
Oh, so, Sharif. Okay.
Yeah, Luke. Yeah, Luke called Sharif, and then Jalen Johnson said Trey called him as soon as he got picked, and then your boy. Then I think he said Kevin called him, and I think he said called him too. So
everybody showed him the love.
Yeah, everybody was just showing him. He said he just felt loved as soon as he got picked. All I'm gonna say, the Celtics are gonna trade them. Yeah, I see it happening.
Oh yeah, they do it with all their backup guards. They did it with Terry. They did it with Teague last year.
This man said, "Yeah, need him in New York."
Y'all need everybody in New York, don't you? Y'all need everybody.
Kyle Kuzma could win MIP. If Kyle Kuzma comes out and gives you 20 a game with a couple, I mean, he's a power. Kyle Kuzma is kind of sort of a stretch big because I think he's like six. What is he 6'9"? I don't remember his exact height, but I know he's tall. Like he's listed as a power forward. I don't know if he really is a power forward.
Yeah,
He's
he's more of a
6'10".
3 or 4. I
Yeah.
mean, with the Wizards, they already have Bertans, so wherever Bertans is more comfortable playing, I think it's either the 3 or 4, wherever he's more comfortable playing. Kuzma's
Yeah.
going to get the other spot. So if Bertans is more comfortable at the 3, he's going to play the 4, and vice versa.
Well, who are these? Who else? Oh, Koru, which we won in. Some people won in Atlanta too.
Yeah, I thought he was a good idea.
I was thinking Auburn guys that have come in and have been successful. Koru was really when he came back healthy, he was good.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else? Am I missing anybody over these last couple of years?
Well, Chumo Okiki in Orlando.
Oh yeah, Kiki.
2 years ago. I mean, yeah, and then Isaac Okoro last season with Cavs, and then Jared Harper's been in the G League the last 2 years with this last year with the Knicks on a 2-way deal. We'll see where he ends up this year, and then of course Cooper and Thor, and then Bryce Brown is another Atlanta kid. Played on the G League team for the Celtics year 1. He was with the Knicks G League team last year in the bubble. Had an ankle injury though, so he really wasn't effective at all, unfortunately. So, but I saw he's on the Cavs Summer League team this year, so we'll see what ends up happening there. But and there's a couple guys at Auburn for next year's team that should be in the NBA in a year or two. So
you're kind of coming on the up and up.
Yes, the expectations are really high this upcoming year, just because of a lot of the guys coming back to school, adding Walker Kessler from UNC, Jabari Smith, the highest rated recruit in Auburn basketball history, another Atlanta area kid. So expectations are really high for Auburn this year.
And I know y'all want to finish the business that you guys set out in 2019.
Unfinished business. You're exactly right. Yep, and especially after everything that happened last year.
Yeah. And I know it hurts to say, but I think we can agree that wasn't a foul. Even though our guy DeAndre Hunter ended up winning the title the very next game, I think we all can agree that foul was so utterly. Can't say it on air.
I was there. I was in the front row of the student section for the Virginia game, and I mean it was a tough call. I think the thing that Auburn fans hold worse than the foul call at the end was the no call in the double triple. That is what everybody goes back to, and but it is what it is. But Auburn fans will never get over that. I won't. That's one of the few sporting events that I'll just never get over. But yeah, it was a tough finish.
So yeah, Auburn's had a lot.
But here's the thing about Auburn basketball is in the last 3 drafts, Auburn's had 4 players drafted, and it had been like 20 years over the last 20 years prior to 2019. They only had like 4 guys drafted, and all of those were 2000, 2001. So the trajectory of Auburn basketball last few years has been incredible and fun to be a part of.
And I'm sure it helps with Alabama's program being on the rise. Y'all don't want to get thrown under a bus by them. So. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Well, Nate Oates has done a phenomenal job in Tuscaloosa, and I know a lot of Auburn fans don't want to hear me say this, but it's good for the state. It's good for Auburn, for Alabama to be good as well. They had a really good year last year, and probably a lot of people in the state really thought they were going to go all the way to the Final Four, and then they ran into UCLA. So, but yeah, I think it's great for the state to have both those schools be as good as they are.
That Primo pick was kind of weird for me, but keep and Jalen could pass. Yeah, Jalen could pass well. Hawks 5-time winners in the draft. So, like Blake said, his first day of school is tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Will, thank you for your insight about college basketball. Hopefully, we get some of you guys from your actually shout yourself out real quick so people know where you're at.
On Twitter, at ShootyHoopsWill. And then you can catch me on College of Magnolia, the Auburn SB Nation site, writing basketball. I mostly do previews and Q&As. I try to interact with other schools and try to get an insight of their teams and learn more about them. It helps me learn more about the team we're about to play. So that's kind of what I do. And, I talk basketball 95% of the time, but I'm an all sports kind of guy. Right? We talk Braves, NBA. So, but yeah, really appreciate you guys having me on and enjoy talking sports with y'all tonight.
Hey man, definitely want to bring you back, or one of you guys from SB Nation, and definitely to talk about that Auburn football team. All I have to say is I'm a Georgia fan, but I have ties to Auburn because of Smoke Monday. So I have a little bit of heart in my I have a little bit of orange and blue in my heart.
What
But
about this orange and blue?
that is disgusting. That is a disgusting color. I like the more navy blue and orange. That's
Oh, you
a
mean the
brighter
black?
blue.
Basically the black.
But yeah, definitely want to have you guys talk about college football. But thank you, Blake. You got anything?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no, actually, I'm not really sorry. But yeah, two things. One, I mean, I'm more active on Twitter nowadays. First of all, you guys can find me on the Atlantica channel. My name on the left, my Twitter handle is my name on the right. I promise you guys that Get to Know Some Baseball, my new baseball podcast on the very own FILA Sports Network, will be getting more regular and lengthy here in the near future with the Braves winding down. I want to give you guys as much content as possible. I can't wait for football season. I think all of us can say the same. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. You guys know where to find me.
Yeah, for me, yeah, just follow me on Twitter at Carl Tyrone ATL. Saturday shows will get more active. I did my media day show. When camp starts, we
Yeah,
get
show
news out of
the new
camp.
show some love, y'all. Get
Uh,
Ariel some views. Get us some views. Come
yes,
on,
bro. Hey, if you like soccer, if you like United, you're a big United guy. Please go watch Research the Spike. Him and Tommy had a great conversation today.
that was awesome.
I mean, really good. Talked about how the future of the team should be. But I got my trusty bear here. Just wanted to make sure you guys saw him.
I
But
got my trusty national championship right here.
oh god,
So, I
okay.
mean,
I mean, y'all both have that. Okay, don't make me pull out 1982, man. I'll pull out a Herschel Walker jersey out here.
you mean 1980?
1980.
Yeah, you mean
I'll
82?
pull out a Herschel Walker jersey. But on that, we'll get ahead out here. Peace.